Alrighty. Hello everybody, I'm doing a VOD review of an open 7.7 seed submitted by goggles2905. Let's check it out. Let's speed it up to 1.5. Alright, starting at Link's house, saving quitting right away. So, hold on, this is actually too fast. I think that's okay. People don't normally do that, but honestly, I think it's fine. Most people will wait to do Link's house whenever they're gonna go somewhere from Link's house anyway to save yourself the save quit, but it only takes a few seconds. And if you're trying to get bombs or whatever, I think that's just fine to do. You may want to consider checking Uncle if you're gonna do that anyway. Just turn it into an Uncle route, but I think it's fine. Normally when I play open, I just start a Sank immediately. And then I'll check Link's house on the way to doing Mini Moldorm Cave, which is typically the next thing I do after CAC. Oh yeah, I'm running my own tracker on top of this, so I might forget to track certain things. Okay, so we're doing the tier 1 pull, very good idea. Getting some arrows. Now I personally like to set up a tier 2 or tier 3 pull. Not that many people actually do that. Okay, so we're not going to look at Lumberjack. That's kind of surprising. If you're walking here anyway, I think you should do that, personally. It's right there. You know, a lot of people skip Lumberjack, but if they're skipping Lumberjack, it's because they're not even walking up on that overworld screen to begin with. They're just going to the Lost Woods from the south. But if you're already going up to that screen to check the bush crab or whatever, I think you should just check Lumberjack while you're there. It's really fast, and it's good information to know. Then some rupees. 20 rupees can make a big difference early on, so definitely a good thing to grab. Piece of heart, okay. And we're gonna keep going. So here, we don't have any bombs yet. So normally what I would do in this situation is save and quit, so that I can go to Kakariko from the south. Because now we're in this awkward situation where we're on our way to Kakariko, but you need a bomb for Blind's Hut, you need a bomb for Well, and you really don't want to go into either of those places a second time. So if I don't have any bombs by the time I get to this check here, what I do is I save quit back to Link's house, and I take the south route to CAC and farm some bushes for bombs. So we'll see how this goes. I mean, if you're lucky, you might just find bombs in one of those places in CAC anyway, and then it's just not a big deal. But it's a bit safer to save and quit and find bombs from a consistent source instead. And a little thing, if you're walking in Blind's Hut, it's a little bit faster to go from the right side. Okay, so we'll see if we find bombs in here. Cane of Samaria. And a hammer, wow. And a potion, okay. So unfortunately no bombs, we're gonna have to come back in here, and it's a bit slow. Because you have to walk back to this entrance, then down the stairs, bomb open the wall, and you're probably not gonna save quit from in there, so then you have to walk back out a second time. But at this point, good idea to go buy some bombs. Now that we have 50 rupees, although checking Sick Kid and Tavern first does make sense, because, you know, maybe there's just bombs there anyway. But after doing these two checks, I would go buy them for sure. potion came with a blue, or rather the bottle came with a blue potion in it, so that's good. It'll come in handy, probably. Now another issue is we only have 30 rupees. So how are we going to handle Bottle Merchant? Maybe we find more money in Cackwell. There's going to be 20 rupees from pots in there, so if we didn't buy the bombs, we would have 100 for Bottle Merchant. So it's kind of hard to say how this would have turned out if we had gone from the south instead, because we might have ended up buying bombs anyway. Okay, hook shot. And just a little thing with this room. Okay, if you're going to pick up all the pots, doesn't matter. But normally, if you're only going to pick up 2, or the front 2, and then this one back here, if you just walk straight up, you can open the chest and then walk straight down. You don't even have to move sideways. I guess it doesn't really matter that much if you don't have boots. Okay, so we got rupees. We actually have, like, just enough for a Bottle Merchant, so that's good. And we have a flute. So now going back in to check the bombable wall here. So again, this is kind of the price you pay by not saving and quitting from Lost Woods. You gotta walk all the way back in here, open this chest, and then walk all the way back out. I would pick up the other rupees. I mean, we have enough money for our immediate costs, which is just Bottle Merchant, but 15 rupees for pretty fast is gonna be worth it most of the time. Okay. So turning on the flute. Let's speed this up. Oop. And now we still have to look at the library and race game. Nothing there. Just checking this blindly. You can do that, or you can peek. I think both options are fine. I usually just peek at it first, personally, unless it's like a key sanity mode. Alright. Okay, so just to recap, after Lost Woods, it would have been better just to save quit, because then we would be able to single dip the back of Blind's Hut. So normally, if you do that route, you'll end up saving and quitting in Blind's Hut. In this case, we would have found the flute anyway, so you'd probably still walk back out. But even so, you would only be single dipping it, and that would have saved quite a bit of time. So let's see, where are we going to go next? Damn, that's a good choice. And actually, it's kind of nice that we did Link's house immediately, because with the flute, there's not really incentive to save quit anyway. So that kind of worked out, to be honest. Alright, we get the cape. Heading to Mini Moldarm. I always do this after CAC. In every open seat I do. It's just good density. Doesn't really require anything. Okay, more bombs, money, armors. Nice. Okay, nothing really doing here. So where are we going now? Let me just think. Where would I go now if I was playing the seed? Well, so with the flute and the hookshot and the hammer, you can do a lot of stuff on the mountain. So that's probably where I would go next. Although I kind of like just knocking out Ice Rod Cave out of the way personally if I have the flute early. Normally, if you didn't have the flute, you just walk over there now. With the flute, you can do it whenever you want, because fluting the 8 is faster than walking there anyway. I would just probably do it right now because like it's never gonna get better. But that's just a little thing. Otherwise, I think I'd probably be going to the mountain next. Okay, we are doing Ice Red Cave. We haven't done a map check yet, so we could finish Hera, but we don't know if it's Crystal or Pendant yet. But Hera's not really the main appeal of the mountain, it's more Paradox Cave, which has a ton of density. What was that? I think Green Pendant. Hold up. That went way too fast. Okay. Okay, so it is Pendant Hera. Also Green Pendant Eastern. Blue Crystal Desert. Alright. Okay. Old Man in the Dark with not really very good items. No sword. Trying to locate a little bit with the hammer. Seems like you're doing a pretty good job. It's kind of hard to tell what's happening, but... I mean, you're doing just fine, so... No complaints from me. Normally I would use the hook shot because it's a little bit more obvious where the walls are. With the hammer, it's like... It's only really helpful if you're not centered on the camera. Which is still helpful a little bit. But with the hook shot, you can kind of use it even in the middle of the room and see where you are. But that looked pretty good, so. We didn't check Spec Rock. I would normally do that right now. Spec Rock Cave, rather. Because we're going over to Paradox Cave, and then up, and then probably over to Hera. And then you could do Spec Rock Cave after that, but there's also Spiral Cave. So, normally if I have Hookshot and Hammer, and not the mirror, I would just go check Spec Rock Cave first, and then jump back down, and then hookshot across here. Because I don't want to orphan Spiral Cave at the end of doing all this other stuff. Let's see, have I forgotten to track anything yet? I probably did. Moon Pearl, and a sword. I guess shields, but I'm not going to track shields. Yeah, looks like we have to use a bomb here. It kind of sucks. Glove. So that's our Dark World access. Another bottle. Okay, nice bomb jump. Peeking at the island. Good idea. Mushroom. Exciting. Okay, so we're going over to Hera. Now, I know when he submitted this, the question was about this Pendant Hera play. So, I think you could take it or leave it, to be honest. Let me slow it down a little bit. We did just get Dark World access, so there's a lot of stuff in the Dark World we could do, and this is a pendant. But it's also really hard to get back here because we don't have the mirror. If we had found the mirror like in Paradox Cave, I definitely would be skipping this, but having hammer and hookshot, there's really not a better time. If the mirror was here, for example, it would be devastating to skip this. But, I mean, that's pretty unlikely. So, yeah, I think you could take it or leave it, to be honest. For me, personally, I probably would do this. But I think a lot of people wouldn't also. So, you know, it is what it is. So far we haven't found any items, I think. And obviously not Hera potting, so, I mean, if you don't know how to Hera pot, then you don't know, and this is what you have to do. But it would save a pretty substantial amount of time. So I would definitely make that a priority. So I guess another issue potentially with this dip is that one of the items could be in the basement. which we won't be able to get, and even if we could get it, it'd be slow. So I guess that's another reason why maybe you wouldn't want to do this yet. But again, I probably would, just because it's really hard to get back here. And we get a Master Sword, so that's definitely a good find, for sure. Probably speed it up a little bit here. Come on, Moldorm. So with Master Sword and Hammer, personally, I kind of like mixing it up. Usually I do a Hammer hit for the first hit. Oh, the Fire Rod. Okay, so this paid off hugely. And we're not even orphaning an item in the basement, because we found both of them. So yeah, that definitely paid off. Alright, now hold up a second. So like I said, take it or leave it. I think skipping would have been perfectly valid too. In this case, obviously it paid off big time. However, after Hera, I would have gone back to Spiral Cave because, again, it's hard to get back there. Whereas Spec Rock Cave, and now we actually do have Spike Cave and Logic too. That you can kind of get back to just by fluting to 1, because you can just climb up the stairs over here. So, given the opportunity cost involved, I would have walked back to Spiral Cave. But, I mean, people just hate Spiral Cave too, because it's slow, with no boots. I would have done it anyway, personally. Alright, and then we're gonna go into Spike Cave right now, because it would be a great time to do that. Looks like yes. Okay, it is in Logic, because we do have the cape, and we have a bottle. Probably gonna have to use blue potion. Oh, this could be bad. Because now once the cape turns off... Okay, so... Yeah. What you can do... Let's rewind a little bit. So, first of all, just as a rule, when you're doing Spike Cave, never leave yourself with 1 heart, basically. Because then you'll have time to menu to your potion and be able to drink it. However, in case on accident you didn't do that, you can actually stand behind one of these torches. So, maybe you can make it to one of the other ones, but it'd be a little bit dicey. So what I would have done right here, seeing I only have 1 heart left, I would just stand right behind either of these 2 torches, and then you can turn off the cape and you'll be fine. Then you can drink your potion, and then you should have enough magic and hearts to make it to the end. Unfortunately, take a death here, so now this location, in my mind, would just kind of be dead forever, because it's annoying to get back here, and let's just assume nothing was there. Alright, so where are we going next? As a rule, I personally always check back of escape on the first save and quit after finding a glove. The glove was a little while ago, so it's kind of hard to remember, but especially when Darkhold access is kind of the main thought right now, but I would still just go check back of escape first, because we save and quit anyway. It's never going to get faster, and it's 3 items, which is pretty fast. Okay, instead it looks like we're going to front of escape. Okay. I mean, there's a lot of options right now. I don't think this one is bad. Kind of like it, to be honest. It puts you on even footing with any Uncle routers before you commit to doing things in the Dark World. And the nice thing is, health is still pretty low, so the Death Warp from Zelda Cell should still be pretty fast. However, if you're gonna go here, then I definitely would have done back of escape first, because there's a chance that either the small key or the map is gonna be in Dark Cross. And then we would just be able to skip it completely, whereas doing things in this order, we're gonna get this situation where we do Zelda's Cell, and then we're gonna want to Death Warp and do Dark Cross, but we don't know if the map or the key is there because we haven't done back of escape yet. So I would say always do back of escape first if you have the means available, just for that extra information, because Dark Cross is kind of a big time commitment. There's a chance we can just do Dark Cross into back of escape depending on the key layout, which, you know, it might work out to be like basically time neutral. Okay, and we found the key, so we will be able to do that, but still, just it would have been like 100% safe to just do back of escape first. Alright, so let's speed it up a little bit. This dungeon is boring. Okay, there's the map. So there is something in Dark Cross, so everything is going to be fine. Not really going to lose any time compared to doing back of escape by itself, although we do have to deal with more dark rooms, including the key rat, which is kind of frustrating. But at least we're not going to do Dark Cross for no reason. And a bow. Okay, good thing we did this before Dark World. We don't have a ton of magic, although we do have the blue potion still, which we meant to use earlier. So it might actually come in handy here, that we still have it. With blue mail, it should be pretty safe. Enemies barely do any damage here, even though we only have 4 hearts, which is pretty low. Okay, trying to find the chest, looks like. Oh, you got it. Cool. Now, there are torches you can light in that room, but I understand there's potentially some concern about magic. So if you're comfortable doing it in the dark anyway, that's fine. And this is where we really want the magic, because killing the key rat with... oh, got it right away, actually. Nice job! I was going to say, killing the key rat in the dark is really hard, and there's a lot of RNG. But we actually didn't need any light at all. Heart piece. Now, I'll be honest, it might still be faster just to do back of escape from a save quit. I don't know off the top of my head. But roughly speaking, I think that was pretty much neutral. Okay, so where are we going next? Let's think about our options for a second here, because there's a lot. Should have mentioned this earlier. I didn't actually think about it, but when we did Spike Cave, that was a good opportunity for a map check in the Dark World. Because we have several Dark World dungeons we can finish right now, and knowing which ones are pendants could potentially be insightful. So we can full clear Skull and Thieves. And Pod, but we have to do some dark rooms. So, well, we know there's only one pendant in the Dark World anyway. So at least one of Skull and Thieves is bound to be a crystal. So I think not even knowing specifically where the crystals and pendants are at this point, I guess it doesn't really matter that much, because there's going to be at least one in Outcasts anyway. I would just be hesitant to go to like Pod immediately, for example, because that could be the pendant, and it's a little bit sketchy with this equipment anyway, so I'd probably be fluting to 3 and just doing the Dark World from that direction, personally. It looks like that is what he is choosing as well. and then map check. Okay, so Bandit Swamp, red crystals, thieves pod. Alright, so we're gonna get 2 crystals pretty soon here. I would go up into Skull first. The reason being, we haven't done any of South Dark World yet, so we can start with Skull and then kind of loop around the Dark World counterclockwise. Whereas if we do Outcast first, we're in this kind of awkward situation where there's stuff to the north and to the south to do. That said, we would be full clearing Skull, and with this equipment, Mothula is kind of difficult. So maybe not a bad idea to put that off for now. But I guess if you're really comfortable with Mothula, then I would be going there first. I think it's faster to take the stairs in that room. We're probably talking frames, but I'm pretty sure it's faster to take the stairs. Okay, so we're going into Thieves. Did I miss any other items? We found Bombos. I don't think so. These we can full clear. I don't think there's going to be too much to talk about here. Small thing. Let me just rewind a bit. I think even a lot of high-level runners don't know this. If you don't have boots, it is faster to walk back around to the right. With boots, faster to go left and dash up, but without boots, it's faster to go right. And even then, you'll see a lot of people get this wrong. They'll jump down this ledge and then go up the stairs. That is slower. You actually want to walk all the way around to the right and just walk up this path on the right and then jump down the ledge above the stairs. It saves a few seconds over going around the left side. That's kind of like all I'm going to have to comment on for this dungeon because it's very linear. There's really no logic to consider for anything. So I might just set this to double speed at this point. Oh, small magic is the stun prize. I don't know if we knew that yet. Maybe we did, I wasn't paying attention. But it's good to know. And good idea to farm up some of that magic in case the blind fight goes awry, or if you're not too comfortable with the script, you can just rely on the cape. Then the fight's a lot easier with the cape if you don't have the script down. There's like really nothing in this dungeon at all, but it's a crystal, gotta get it done. It's a little bit faster to go up through that conveyor room than to go back this way. Conveyor room's a little annoying, but you have to pick up that big rock again, so. Alright, let's see how the blind fight goes here. Or if we're just gonna use the cape right away. Okay, I think we're on script with slashes. No. No, doing good so far. And tons of magic with cape, so this will be fine. Okay. Yeah, blind script is something definitely to work on. In this situation, it didn't really matter. This was still a pretty fast kill. The important thing about blind script is just not dying. So if you don't die, then it's not that big of a deal. But I would definitely put it on the list of things to practice for sure. Okay, so now we're gonna go south from here, it looks like. Speed it up some more because we still don't have boots, dang it. So I guess let's talk about this for a second though. So Skull Woods is clearable and it's to the north. Again, Mothfield fight would be a little bit sketchy, so I understand if there's hesitation to go there. So with that in mind, I think this play makes sense. That said, one thing to consider is that South Dark World is accessible through a different portal, so it's easier to route this in other ways anyway. So there's not like a huge like opportunity cost involved here. Like we could just do this later, like starting from Hype Cave and going west. So me personally, I would have gone to Skull, checking Bumper Ledge first because we do have the cape and the glove. So if that's an item, we can get it. But if you're not comfortable with Mothfield, I get it, and I think this route is fine. So we're just gonna head over to Hype Cave, clearly. Not much to say about this. So there are two crystals we could do, one being Skull, as I've mentioned. Pod is also an option still, without a lamp, which can be a little bit sketchy, but something to think about. And actually, now that I think about it, another thing to consider is Pod is a red crystal, and Thieves was the other red crystal. So if you're... well, how would that work? There's maybe a way you could like route in Big Bomb, but thinking about it more, maybe not really. I'm just kind of thinking out loud right now, and this is kind of a unique circumstance where those two red crystals are actually accessible this early. So we found two bottles. Cool. I didn't see what was in them, but... okay, and it looks like we're gonna keep going. This is an option to continue the Dark World route up to Pyramid Ledge and Catfish. Personally, I wouldn't do this right now. It is being very thorough, but one downside is we don't have the mirror, so going to Catfish isn't really as valuable as it could be because we're still gonna have to make a separate trip to Zora anyway. We do have the flute, so we can flute to 8 to get back to Zora later, which saves a little bit of time, but for me, I wouldn't be worrying about this yet. And I do like to play very thorough. I think I would still just focus on dungeons at this point, though. Going to Hype Cave was definitely a good idea because it's so many items, but then the walk to Pyramid Ledge and the walk to Catfish when you can't route Zora in after is not that many checks, like, per minute compared to, well, I guess doing things that are mandatory. But this is one of those decisions that can win you races too, because people don't like coming here. Alright, nothing from Catfish, so let's see, where we go next? We should definitely do one of these dungeons, I think, because the other options are not great. So is it going to be Pod or is it going to be Skull? Oh, we're doing a Gina. I kind of forgot about Gina. This is another thing where, like, when you have the flute so early in the seed, you can kind of just do it at an arbitrary time. Like, you could try to save it for Meyer, but... I mean, we still don't have Mitts or a mirror, so is that going to happen anytime soon? Probably not. So, I like this play. Red mail. That's actually probably probably a relief, because I think the concern right now is probably just, you know, difficult dungeons incoming, and that's going to add a lot of safety. Now, one thing to note, if you have the flute, it is actually faster to save and quit from the chest in Agina than to walk back out. Um, it's faster to save quit like to the mountain and then flute from the mountain than it is to walk out of Agina. Not much, but it is a little bit. Okay, so we're actually going to Eastern. This is an option, or maybe we're just doing Saha first, or maybe we're doing Eastern first. This is an option, and it's, let me think. It could pay off big for sure, but I mean it is a pendant, and we have 2 crystals we could be doing instead. They're sort of difficult crystals. Especially with the red mail, I would at least try Skullwoods next. Red mail, we have a blue potion and a red potion, maybe some other potions too. So like, that's not gonna be that dangerous, unless you're really worried about Montula. Whereas here, you are gonna get a lot of items, and it could be something important. So it might pay off. But I guess it's just one of those things where like being comfortable enough to go to Pod and or Skull would potentially pay off big time if there's really nothing here. But hey, I mean this is like a 7-item trip, so there is a decent chance that we're gonna find some kind of required item here anyway. And if, as long as there's a required item here, then, you know, it doesn't really matter that we're doing it this early. In fact, it might be a good thing that we're doing it this early. Now I did see some hesitation whether to go to Saha first or do Eastern first. Now Eastern is the green pendant, so if you're assuming you're gonna do everything, then it does make more sense to do Eastern first here, because you won't have to walk back to Saha, of course. An option could be just to check Saha first because it's so fast for 3 items, and maybe you find something that you really want that will change your mind and convince you not to do Eastern. So there is an argument to checking Saha first. But I think in this case, if you're gonna like go to this part of the map anyway, I like doing Eastern first. Just doubling down on the crystal avoidance. But me personally, if I was playing the seed, I would have done Skull before Thieves even. It would have been a little bit sketchy, but if you're comfortable with it, I think that would be the best way to approach the route. And then doing Pod after we were done with like Hype Cave and stuff, not going to Pyramid Ledge, not going to Catfish. And then at that point, if I'm still looking for progression, then I'll go to Eastern. So, I mean, there's a chance we're just doing things in a slightly different order. There's also Ped. Ped is a thing. The green pendant is potentially useful for that too. It's like having trouble finding the torch. Now, one thing you can do, I mean, using the sword is fine. If you just hold left or right as you're walking into that room, Link will move out of the doorway, flush with the bottom wall. So I usually just hold left or right and just like spam the fire rod button until he actually shoots it. Link will not shoot the fire rod if he's in the door, so you won't like waste shots or anything doing that. Okay, so nothing from the 3 items here, but maybe green pendant something, maybe pet is something. Okay. So Eastern not looking too good. Powder. Oh, the mitts were just here the whole time. That's interesting. Huh. Okay, so actually the mitts and the hammer were all available in the light world. So that's funny. I could see this. Other people could have routed this very differently. Like if they checked Saha before Mountain or something, it could be like a wildly different route. But anyway, we have mitts now. So that opens up quite a bit. There's Mire area. Mire itself would be pretty rough. Fake flipping into ice is an option. There's Dark Death Mountain. There's a lot of options right now. But again, I think the thing to focus on next would be one of those two crystals I've been talking about, either Skull or Pod. Okay, we're going to the mountain. Okay. Well, there's 6 items in Dark Death Mountain on the east side. There's still Spike Cave, which has been orphaned. There's still Spiral Cave. You technically could go in Turtle Rock, but I think that would be very risky at this point. And we're going in the bottom portal here, so Turtle Rock's not really an option anyway. Bottom portal makes sense. You shouldn't really be going to Turtle Rock at this point. Going in the bottom portal will save a bit of time checking Super Bunny. So if you're gonna do the mountain play, this is the way to do it. But again, I would be going to crystals, focusing on things that are required to beat the seed. Okay, nothing Super Bunny. Now Spiral Cave is still orphaned, but routing in Spiral Cave would be kind of awkward anyway, so to me, at this point, Spiral Cave is just kind of dead forever, to be honest. It's really hard to get that back, which is why I think doing it after Hera, when it was the best opportunity to do so, was important. Even though it was pretty slow at the time, it was still better than like doing it now. Definitely want to check the Hera medallion here. Or sorry, the Turtle Rock medallion. Just Quake. Okay, so there are things in Turtle Rock we could do, but there's a million other things instead. And it looks like we're going back to Spike Cave. Good idea. Should have no problems this time. Although I don't want to jinx anything. Yep. Okay, this is much better. Staying at 2 hearts so that you can turn off the cape and use the potion. Alright. So now what? Dungeon? Flew to 3. This is looking like Skull. Okay, we do have Bumper Ledge. Would I check Bumper Ledge first? Probably. It's kind of a weird situation. Okay, we're doing back to front, so... I think I probably would have gone and done Bumper Ledge before walking in here, because we actually do have the cape. Now we're running back to front. If you're not intending on doing anything else in the Dark World, I prefer doing front to back, so you don't have to like go through the dungeon a second time. But it's another one of those things where like, depending on item placement, each option is going to be like the correct option sometimes, and the incorrect option other times. Like the 2 items might just be back here. So I don't think it's a big deal either way. If you want to clear out all the Gibdos, might have been better just to use Bombos, because it takes forever to kill those guys. But that's another good room to practice, just learning how to deal with it when the Gibdos are there, and like how to ignore them. Can save a lot of time. Okay, fire rod strats. Nice spin. We didn't even do statue chest, did we? Even if you're doing back to front routing, I think you should still do statue chest, because you're already like right there. Suppose you find one item in that room and then the second item's on Moth. Oh, we're skipping bridge chest? No, we're not. Okay. So, looks like we're gonna end up heading back to the front of the dungeon anyway. Which is our first item. So maybe we just do bumper ledge after that. Again, I probably would have chosen just checking bumper first, and then doing front to back, and saving and quitting from the back of skull, but, you know, like I said, depending on where the items are, one way will be better than the other. I'm so sorry, everybody. My Discord is not muted. Hold on. That was me. Hold on. Okay. Sorry for the ping. And there's a second item. Okay, we're going back out, so I guess we're gonna check bumper ledge next. Yeah, this route worked out. Pretty much the same as if you had gone to bumper ledge first, done front to back. Alright, I gotta catch up on my tracking here. Skull is done. Okay, so we're not saving quitting yet. Looks like we're gonna go, I guess, do Smith Chain. And hammer pegs. I still really think we should just be going to pod. But if you don't like know the dark rooms, then I'd probably be going to ice. Actually, maybe I'd be going to ice first. There's not really any reason not to do ice. But either way, I would say this is a little bit too much overworld routing, I would say, for my liking. But, you know, if you're not comfy with pod dark rooms, then better to do other things than to just go there and die, right? And mostly, the reason I'm thinking it's a little too, like, conservative is walking from bumper ledge to Village of Outcasts really won't save that much time compared to just fluting to 3 and doing it later. And now, like, we're really orphaning purple chest. Plus, it like would have been faster to do with the mirror, so I would have put that off for a while, personally. Where are we going now? Oh, we are gonna do purple chest. Okay. Yeah, I would not be doing this yet. In fact, I think walking here from the smith's house was even slower than just fluting to 3. So, you know, there's really no incentive to doing it right now. Plus, it's only one item. So, it's pretty unlikely this is gonna help significantly. I mean, maybe it will. But even if it does, it almost certainly would have been faster to do it differently. I mean, unless this is the mirror. If this is the mirror, then that'd be kind of insane. We might not even need the mirror in this dude. Okay. Yeah, so that was a pretty big time commitment. I would have just ignored Smith Chain entirely for the time being. It looks like we're going to Mire area. You know, this is okay. I keep saying go to crystals, but this is pretty fast, and it's nice to know the medallion requirement here to get a better understanding what the go mode situation is. Speaking of which, what is the go mode situation? We need ice rod. The only ice rod? Really? Potentially? I mean, we might need ether for Mire. We didn't actually look at it yet. Might need boots. Oh, no, we need desert access. Yeah. So we do need either the mirror or the book as well. And maybe boots for desert. That's usually a 50-50 chance. Okay, bombos for Mire. So no ether today. We're going in Mire. Okay, well, I mean, it is a crystal you could clear. I would say it is, at least in my opinion, far and away the most difficult of the 3 options. So I would not be choosing this one yet. I forgot to mark some stuff on the map. Boop, boop. Alright, well, I mean, the only reason I'm surprised is because the thing that I'm assuming is holding us back from pod are the dark rooms. But I think the dark room in Mire is substantially more difficult than in pod. But we'll see. Mire's also only 2. Oh, nice rod. Okay. Interesting. Mire's only 2 items, so what I was trying to say was it's unlikely you're going to find progression here, but we did. Okay, we're going to the right first. So let's see, we found a small key. No, we haven't found a small key. We found an ice rod, a big key, and a map. And now we're going this way. Oh, but we're skipping... Oh, did we not have enough magic? Okay, I was just about to say we should definitely be drinking the red potion. It's a good idea. I think we had enough magic, but maybe not. If the cape was used at some point, I don't remember. So people have different opinions on how to route this dungeon. Oh, now we definitely have enough magic, though. Yeah, because we've only used 4 fire red shots since getting the full magic refill, and 1 full bar gives you 8 shots. Okay. Maybe he's talking about this. I don't have the volume on, but I think what happened was concerned that there wasn't enough magic, but there definitely is. So let's hope the map is in that chest, I guess. It can't be a small key. Oh, was there an anti-fairy hit involved at some point? Maybe before getting compass chests, but definitely not after that. Okay, now we're just gonna leave. Okay. I mean, we got the ice rod, but okay, now we're going to pod. What are my thoughts? It's definitely good that we found the ice rod. Really good, especially because, I mean, our go mode might be in Turtle Rock. I wouldn't have committed to going into Mire without being prepared to do the whole thing, though, personally. I would just waited till finding the lamp or enough equipment to make it comfortable enough to full clear it. It's a little bit sketchy with cutscene chest still being there. That said, hold on, let me think about this for a second. Small key. I think that's lamp locked because I think Vitreous has a small key, so that's not actually in logic anyway. That's kind of a more complicated detail that we don't really need to get into, but anyway, we're finally in pod. I think this is a good play. Again, if you're worried about dark rooms, I think ice would have been a better choice first. Boots. Oh man, boots were in pod all along. Okay. Yeah, we need a key. So normally when I route this dungeon, after I open that chest, I just go down immediately and hop down here. Okay. Key number 2. So at this point, we're definitely in either book or mirror go mode, plus lamp with a question mark on it. I guess I can untrack these potions. Okay. So we found 3 keys, 2 items. One thing about pod key logic is there are never less than 4 keys in the front. That's a very confusing way of saying it. There's always at least 4 keys in the front, and we found 3 of them, and there's 1 chest left in the front that we haven't opened, which is big key chest. So we know that that has to be a small key, and it requires a small key to open, so there's no point in going there. We can just skip it completely. And it looks like we are, so good choice, good choice. That's one of those situations where knowing pod key logic can really help quite a bit. Okay, and that's basically our 5th key. Pretending we have gotten the 4th one from big key chest, and there's the 6th key. So we will not be skipping Hellway. Okay. Now the way I would route this, because we don't have the mirror and we just found the big key, is I would go left here, do a hammer jump, open big chest, go up through dark maze, come back in this room, go down here through Hellway. I mean, that obviously requires knowing hammer jump and how to do pod dark maze in reverse. But that is how I would do it personally, because then you kind of finish the route at Hellway, you're ready to walk over to the boss Whereas if you do it in a different order, where like you do this first and then go through Dark Maze front to back, then you're at Big Chest and you're kind of stuck there, probably trying to Death Warp in the dark, which is frustrating. It can take a lot of time. Where are we going next? Okay, looks like we're just gonna skip Dark Maze. I mean, if you don't know how to do it in the dark, then it's not really an option. Again, we know this is a small key, so don't need to open this. Looks like we're just gonna leave. So, yeah, if you don't know the dark rooms, then what can you do? Alright, let's pause for a second. So, what is still left in pod? I wasn't really counting items. I don't think we found the map or the compass. So I think this... Did we only find 2 items? Found rupees. Oh no, we did find the map. Found rupees and something. Yeah, I think there's 3 items left. Yeah, just looking at the tracker, this is definitely a seed where dark room navigation is huge. Because as you can see, there's 3 dungeons that are all blue, which means you can do them, but you need to know dark rooms. That said, there's 1 dungeon which is not blue. It's not green either. It's red, Ice Palace, because you need to fake flipper to it. But assuming you know how to do fake flipper, you can go in there and we can full clear it just as quickly as we could with pretty much any set of equipment. That's where I would be going next. Since we save quit anyway, it makes sense to go back to Sank because we can do boots checks, bonk rocks, and King's Tomb. But after that, I would be fluting to 8 and doing Ice Cave, or Ice Cave. What am I saying? Ice Palace. And again, I would have done that even before doing Mire or Pod. If I wasn't feeling comfortable with those dungeons anyway. Where is this lamp? Wait, what's even in... I guess, okay, so there's Zora, there's Spiral Cave, and there's like some stuff in the front of Turtle Rock. And we are going to Ice. Good choice. Good choice. Oh, we're not going to Ice. We're going to Zora area, at least first. Okay. Well, Zora is in logic. Fairy, that'll be nice. We found surprisingly few hearts in the seed. I mean, we got red mail, so that's good. And a couple other safeties, but 8 hearts with this much cleared is kind of strange. For this screen, okay, it worked out anyway. It's deceptively easy. This dash right here, when you dash into this ledge and then you move up here, you can just keep going all the way to Zora. You won't bonk into anything, you won't touch grass and lose water rock or anything. You just go straight to Zora. Stop once you're like in front of Zora. Don't bonk into the wall, but like you won't hit either of those grass patches, you won't hit that rock. You'll just end up pretty much the same spot you did end up. And there's nothing to worry about. Alright, we're gonna swim around. Take a dive. Alright, Ice Palace, let's see it. Hey, let's go. So if it turns out that the lamp is just in ice, that would have helped out hugely, and there's really no reason it can't be in ice. Obviously this is flipper locked, but with Pendant Swamp in this seed, we don't really care where flippers even are. So again, I would have treated this as like a fully clearable crystal. This has been an option pretty much ever since we got the mitts. We can speed this up a little bit. So we got the big key. Let's see, are we doing IPPJ route or we just hit the switch first? IPPJ, okay. So, I mean, we could Icebreaker if you know Icebreaker. If you don't know Icebreaker, then this is the way to go. Icebreaker is really strong, though. I would definitely recommend learning that at some point. We gotta get the key. Okay, nice bomb jump. Do that without the spin setup. I noticed that with the paradox bomb jump as well. I would recommend learning the spin setup. I mean, you got it pretty quickly, but learning how to do the spin setup will make other bomb jumps way easier. Okay, the way I like to route IPBJ route, let's back up a second, is I go up here first and drop down in the collapsing floor room, and then I go right, hook shot across the gap, and then I can get the 3 items on this side first. Some people do it this way and try to find a small key here first, or at least I think that's the reasoning. I personally just go for right side first. And if you're going to open this chest before doing the right side, you should at least do a bomb jump here and then do right side. Because if you drop down here, then you have to go through a whole bunch of extra screens to like retrace your steps to get back up. Let's see, was that the first item? I'm not really doing a good job of counting. Might have been the second. So yeah, this is the way I was saying we could go in that room with the big spiky guy, just the single one. We could just go up, drop down, do the right side first. That way this is already done before you drop down by big chest. And also, if we find an extra key on this side, we can use that to do iced tea from a different direction, which would make it a lot faster. So just in general, one thing you want to be thinking about with Ice Palace routing, and I mean, it's very complicated routing this dungeon, but you want to think about just doing whatever you can not to backtrack from the room where you push the block down the hole, because climbing back up from there is really slow. Sorry for the quick break, but okay, moving on. So we've opened all the chests. Time for Cold Stare. Okay. That's crystal number 3. All right. We didn't find the lamp. So, I mean, at this point, lamp has to be in Spiral Cave with Turtle Rock, I'm pretty sure. I think cutscene chest of Mire is out of logic because it requires 3 small keys and there's a small key on Vitreous. There's nothing left in Pod that doesn't need the lamp. So it's probably in Turtle Rock. So with that in mind, that's where I would go next if you really are looking for the lamp. But yeah, I mean, knowing the dark rooms in the seed is just really, really strong. Oh, we're gonna look at Lumberjack. So, I mean, Mirror or Book are probably gonna be our go mode. The lamp's not gonna be here though, because this is lamp locked. So if that's the main thing on your mind, I probably wouldn't even bother looking at it at this point. It looks like we're going to Spiral Cave and or Turtle Rock. Again, Spiral Cave is really hard to route in at this point. I'm not even sure what I would do. Doing it before Turtle Rock, then you gotta climb up the mountain a second time, but you can't really do it after Turtle Rock because we don't have the mirror. So. Into Turtle Rock we go. On the bright side, if the lamp is in Spiral Cave, this is one of the easier dungeons to do lampless. For that room, real quick. So dashing from this side of the chest, you'll hit a spike. Dashing from this side of the chest, you will not hit a spike. It's just one of those weird grid rules with this game. I don't know why it works that way, but it does. And here, I would just use the cape to run through here. Oh, there's the lamp at last. Okay. I'd use the cape. Magic doesn't really matter because there's a full refill in one of those pots right there. You can pick it up on the way out. Or if you have the mirror and you're mirroring out, then you'll get a full magic in the first room instead. Okay, so. Book or mirror for go mode. Kind of unusual. But now we should be able to finish this dungeon. Then we can go back to Pod to finish that one. Go back to Mire, finish that one. So, you know, routing wise, keeping in mind the fact that, like, we don't know dark rooms, I think one big takeaway would be doing ice sooner. In the end, it didn't really make a difference because that's not where the lamp was. There wasn't really any progression there. But that was just a dungeon we could full clear the whole time. And I mean, if the lamp had been there, and there's no reason why it couldn't have been there, then, you know, we would have saved a lot of double dips. Not knowing the dark rooms, I think you're gonna inevitably just kind of get funneled into Turtle Rock anyway, and it's just a painful seed if that's not tech that's in your repertoire. Taking the safety door here. I would just go ahead and use the cape instead of trying to skip the lasers. This dungeon has a lot of full magic refills. You really don't need to be conservative with it at all. You'll get one right before Trinex. So might as well just use the cape. And that's our go mode. We do have a fairy. We might have multiple fairies even, I don't remember. So should be fine. Mirror acquired. Alright, so from here on out, there's probably not going to be too much to comment on. Whoopsies. Going back for some more magic. We have tempered and we have silvers, so shouldn't be any issues for the rest of the seed, I think. So I guess maybe for the rest of this review, I'll just kind of point out execution things here or there, because routing wise, there's really not much to say. We just have to go get those other crystals. So for example, here, mirroring from Turtle Rock, you actually, if you just don't move at all and mirror, you'll be fine. You will not bonk on the rock, even though it seems like you might. You will appear on the ladder. Okay, do Mire next, looks like. Yeah, where are those flippers at? They're not in GT. Probably mirror locked somewhere. Done with Turtle Rock. I'm not a very good tracker. Oh yeah, we have Ether too. Not that that matters. And we have Boomerang. I kind of forgot a bunch of stuff. Spooky, it's another thing you could learn. To be honest, Spooky is a little bit overrated, even though it is really cool. But if you want to learn some more ways to save time in this dungeon, that's another good thing to pick up. This boss kills should be pretty trivial. Could either use cape with spins or just use silvers. Either way, it's pretty fast. No chance of dying, so. Okay, there was a key on video. I thought there was. Yeah, so that means cutscene chest is lamp locked. So lamp couldn't have been there. Again, Mire key logic is not really something I think people should focus on in Metro Tournament, but I mean, that's one reason why I knew that the lamp couldn't be there. It had to be in either Turtle Rock or Spiral Cave. So, one thing real quick with, I guess it's kind of fine because we found Big Key already, but normally if you're go moding Mire, even after, or sorry, go moding desert after mire, on average, you're going to save time by mirroring over here, well, further left than where I'm pointing, but and going in the west entrance, because once you find the big key, you can mirror back to that entrance instantly, and it'll save time that way. In this case, it probably worked out about the same. I think it probably still would have been a little bit faster to do it that way, though. So just something to keep in mind. It's a little bit counterintuitive because you are right next to the main entrance after mire, but being able to mirror inside the dungeon will save time. For this room, once you pick up this key, if you just stay hugging this bottom wall and walk down here, and then dash turn up, you will dash through the door with the key dash. Again, that's not really that big of a deal, but it's a little time save that's really easy to do. Oh, you did a key dash there. That's good. Landmo, personally, for honestly, like the first couple years I was playing this game, I prefer just to use Fire Rod in situations like this. Like, technically, silvers are stronger, but I found it much more consistent just to go for the one cycle with Fire Rod instead, because you can kind of spam it. So like, yeah, optimally, silvers can be faster, but like the big thing is just getting the one cycle, and in my opinion, it's much easier to get the one cycle to Fire Rod than the silvers. Actually, let me go back for a second. I'll say one more thing about this. For silver boss kills, what I do is when I enter this room, I go up here, or sorry, when I enter the room, I dash up and I bonk off the wall, and then I move like 2 pixels up, roughly. If you do that, you'll be like perfectly positioned so that you can shoot both the left and the right landmos, because they always spawn here in the same spot. That way you can kind of like aim left, shoot one, aim right, shoot the other one. And if your timing is good, you can kill both of them right away, really quickly. So in general, with silver strats, it's gonna be better if you're standing like kind of around the center of the room. Or just go for Fire Rod shots by holding sword down along this top wall and just kind of spamming it. Okay, anyway. I guess I kind of skipped some parts, but I don't think there's really anything to say. Just using a sword beam or an arrow to hit that switch is good. This is another room where it can be nice to learn the NMG strat. It's a little bit simpler with tempered, slightly, but for the most part it's the same. At least learning like how to flip all 6 of the turtles really quickly can be nice, because that room can get a little bit chaotic. time for GT. I guess one other little thing to mention, if you're gonna flute to 1 from the Dark World, you save like 1 second if you just save quit to the mountain instead. And you can talk to the guy to get your health refilled too. But I think it's like literally a second, so it's really not a huge time save by any means. Just a little thing to keep in mind. Alright, so GT routing. The best coin flip in the game. Let's see, what are we gonna pick today? I guess it's not really a coin flip, it's more like a dice roll. There's another room where key dash is really easy. Just don't move from here, just start dashing from the door, and you will key dash through that door. This room's kind of frustrating. Usually, if magic is not a concern, I'll just fire out those guys before I start Cane of Samaria-ing. Alright, we're going full right, or we're just taking the key? Just taking the key. Okay. Always want to take that key if you go in compass room first. Just real quick. So for rooms like this where you're just walking like from a north entrance to a west entrance, like that, assuming there's nothing in your way, it's actually just faster to walk diagonally. Diagonally walking is surprisingly fast compared to dashing. We do have ether. Ether is a really good way to just clean that room out really quickly. Those guys like to hop around a lot. And slashing them makes the fireballs appear and they can get in the way too. Okay, remember to hit the switch. Samaria's good. Boomerang works too. There's the book. And there's the big key. Where are these flippers at? Alright, for this room, I would recommend checking out the NMG strat. I went too far back. So some people like to go like kind of along this top bridge, I guess, to be safe. But the thing is, like, it's really hard to actually do it safely. You'll probably end up just taking just as much or possibly even more damage than doing the NMG strat, which is just to hit this switch and then just dash through here or walk through here. The dash timing is a little bit strange because it involves iframes, but just go down here, push the block, walk back the spikes and leave. You'll take 3 hearts of damage probably, 2 hearts if you're good. But it's gonna be faster and probably just as safe as doing it any other way, realistically. Whoopsies. Quake works? Sort of. I think that was meant to be an ether. Or maybe not. I don't know. Ether would be insta-killing these guys though, I think. Or does it just freeze? Now that I'm saying that, I don't actually remember off the top of my head. It definitely kills the Stalfoses. Ooh, nice shot. Again, here I would recommend just using Fire Rod. Magic's a little bit more of a concern in GT compared to Landmail 1, but we have half magic. If you know where the pots are, it's not going to be too big of a deal. And also, our stun prize is a small magic refill, so we could use that in this room, for example, if we like really needed it. So that's another situation where it's probably better just to go for the more consistent strat of using the Fire Rod, even if it's slightly suboptimal compared to the much more difficult Silver strat. Skipping the chests, that's fine. I mean, there's really nothing to be gained at this point. I guess a gold sword for comfort, potentially, but other than that, we already have tempered silvers and red mail, fairies. For that room, this dash is a little bit weird. Let me slow down a little bit. Oh, not that far. Is this really one-time speed? Oh my god, this game is so slow. So when you hookshot through here, just hold down left, and then once you're clear of the block, anywhere along the wall, it doesn't matter where, just start dashing and you'll be able to dash through the door. So just from here, keep holding down left, and then like you moved up a tiny bit there. If you had just started dashing when you're still hugging the wall, you would just dash through the door. If you kept dashing here, you would most likely bonk, which is, it's a good thing that you cancel that. But it is, once you know how to do it, pretty easy just to dash through the door. This does not seem like one-time speed. It just seems so slow. Is the game actually this slow? Holy cow. Looks like we're gonna grab a fairy first. We have some fairies, I think, don't we? I know we have at least one. So dashing upstairs is actually kind of slow. A hook speed would save a ton of time right here, actually, like seconds. Seconds. There's a ton of time in my opinion, at least. So I guess we haven't had the boost for very long, so spin speed, hook speed isn't really something that I could even talk about for most of the seed. But so here, doing a hook dash by pressing hookshot A on the same frame to get super speed state, you can run up these stairs really quickly. Once you've armed super speed, if you just kind of mash like diagonals, like this, you'll go upstairs really fast, and then you can also just run at full speed in between the floors as well, like going from staircase to staircase. It actually would save a lot of time on the screen if you're gonna go get that fairy first. I think we already have some fairies, so depending on your comfort level, you might not have really needed to get that. Okay, 3-cycle phase 1. Ganon is like one of the best things to practice in this whole game because you're always gonna have to do it. Unless you're playing Ped Goal for some reason. I don't know why you would, because that mode sucks. Yeah, I won't get into all the details of getting the 1-in-1, but I would definitely look into it. Because it saves a lot of time being able to skip cycles in this fight. And also just getting more comfortable with the movements and stuff, so you might not feel like you need a fairy before coming here. Again, it's just like one of the most valuable things to practice in the whole game. Okay, we got silvers. So. Getting torch glitch anyway. Well, missed it a little bit. I think the input might have got eaten there, but it's fine. Oh, that was close. So we're like we have a decent amount of magic. I would honestly just use the fire rod. Like, we want to not waste our magic because if we lose it all, then this fight is over. But using the lamp for both torches in this situation gives you less time to work with. And you can also like kind of time a fire rod shot so he gets stunned at a more opportune place so that you can hit him faster. But yeah, just in general, Ganon, really good thing to practice. Take a look at the 1-in-1. Save a lot of time, and that is it. GG. Alright. So yeah, just final thoughts. Dark rooms in the seed were huge. Take a look at those. Ice Palace. Don't forget that's an option if like you don't want to do these other dungeons you can't finish without doing dark rooms. Is there anything else really? I think those are the big key points. But yeah, hopefully this video was helpful to somebody. Have a good day, Internet.